And from today, we are going to start Journey Builder. So first of all, we will understand about the Journey Builder overview, and then we'll understand that why we need Journey Builder and what are the differences between the Automation Studio and the Journey Builder, so that whenever the requirement comes up, we can decide that which tool we should go with, and like we should go with the Automation Studio or the Journey Builder to complete the task. And then we'll understand the different things like activities and resources in Journey. So let's start with the overview. So what is Journey Builder? So let's just um, understand this with an example. You must have heard about the payment reminder journey, like any scenario where you can think of the customer is entering into some path, and then at some point of time, the customer is exiting from the path. For example, a payment reminder journey, when all the eligible customers who have not made the payment, right, they will enter into a journey, and we are going to send them the follow-up email, some payment reminder email, something like that. And then once they make the payment before the due date, they will exit from the journey. Or if they do not pay before the due date and the due date is passed, so what will happen? Maybe we are going to send them a couple of more emails like, the due date is passed or something like that, and then now there will be penalty or something like that, right? So where you can think of, we are going to send them a series of emails based on the interaction or based on their decision. So how we can do that? We can do that through journey. So we'll understand how these things happen. Or maybe another example of, let's say, a red bus, right? Or maybe wherever you think that they're sending us the email communication, for some kind of for the action from our side, right? Maybe a recharge from the Tata side or the Dish TV, right? Or maybe a payment reminder or anything where they want something from us, or and they want the action from our side. So we'll understand the more examples and use cases as we move forward. So what is a journey builder? So it is a campaign planning tool. So we can plan, what we want to do, and we can, automate journey, and we can design and we can automate this, and we can make the customer go through the journey. It has got 4 tabs that we will discuss. But before that, let's understand about the automation studio and the journey builder. So I think in one of the sessions we discussed about the basic differences. So automation studio is an activity centric. We are more concerned about the activity, that this is something that we need to do, irrespective of the customer, that whether this particular activity now is eligible for that customer or not, or whether this activity is suitable for that customer or not. So for example, if somebody has opened the email, we want to send them, um, that, okay, these are the different products that this person might be interested in. Okay. So if the customer has opened the email, we are going to send them another email so that, we can get more engagement. But if the customer has not opened the email, we want to show a Facebook ad, right? So what we want to do, that we are going to capture this engagement from the customer. That if they have not opened the email, we are not going to send them the email. We are going to show them a Facebook ad. So this is something we can do with a journey, but not with the automation. Because automation, we just configure the activity, and the activity has to happen. It does not matter that the history of the contact or what contact has done in the past or like during the campaign. Whereas Journey Builder is concerned about the customer, it is a contact centric, where like we are going to take context preference, context engagement data into consideration as what needs to be done next. Automation Studio, like we have a couple of activities, and if you have a requirement that we need the activities, we are going to go ahead with the Automation Studio. Whereas in Journey Builder, there are a few activities which are not available in Automation Studio, like engagement split, decision split, path optimizer, advertising campaign, and these kind of things. That can only happen in Journey Builder. So if you have a requirement here, we need these things, so we are going to build with the Journey Builder. Automation, since Automation Studio is not about the customers, right? It is about the activity. So it is going to take less time while executing the activity because it is going to consider each and every contact the same way. So if we have a large, data and like a large volume of data and to whom we need to send the communication, so we are going to go with the automation studio. Or if we want to segment the data, based on a complex criteria, then we are going to use automation studio. Whereas journey builder is always used for the one-to-one interaction. So we are going to treat each contact uniquely. That okay, based on this customer's interaction, we are going to do something else. Based on someone else, maybe um, based on the engagement of the customer, we are going to do something else. So journey builder is always used for the one-to-one interaction. That is for each contact, we are going to decide, or we are going to design a different path. So we have couple of paths, and each customer can go through a different path based on the interaction of this customer with the communications website with them. Automation studio cannot directly retrieve or push the data into Salesforce. So what we have seen so far is that in automation studio we can import the data from the FTP server, but it does not have the capability to retrieve the data or push the data into the Salesforce Sales Cloud or Service Cloud, right? Whereas in Journey Builder, we have this capability, we have this feature to import the data, or we can say to retrieve the data from the Salesforce, and at times we can also push the data to Salesforce. So these are the some basic differences between the automation and the journey. As you move forward, you will understand more differences, and you will have a better idea that in which scenario we should use automation and in which scenario we should use journey builder. Anybody has any doubts so far? Okay, no. Okay, then let's proceed. So let's switch to the marketing tool. So let's go to Journey Builder, and we understand that what a UI looks like, and what are the different tabs that we have on the UI and the different things. Okay, so this is what the UI looks like, and we have got 4 tabs: journeys, events, history, and templates. And this is my journey dashboard. And the journey dashboard, as you can see, we have a couple of things. So first one is the folder structure. So here we can see all the journeys. Here we can see the journeys, present in a particular folder. And then we can see the transactional single sync journey. So we'll talk about all these journeys in a while, that what are transactional, what are single syncs and all. So here we can see all the journeys present in the account. It says the name of the journey, status, performance, and last modified. If you want to create a new journey, we can create a new journey. If you want to search, we can search. If you want to filter, we can do that, right? So these are the different things. And next we have is events. So events, basically, we are going to talk about in detail when we will understand about the API, because here we will need the API call. And then we have the history. So journey history basically talks about the different activities that the content went through. For example, that let's say I am a contact, I am a customer, I am entering into one of the journey. So the history will tell each and every interaction, like each and every interaction made by me. For example, at what time I entered into the journey, and then what I did, like I received the email message, and then after that I let's say I waited for 1 hour, and then after that I exited from the journey. So whatever the different events happened with me, so it is going to be captured, and it is going to be shown in history page. We'll understand more about the history when we'll discuss about the journey in detail. And then we have templates. So you must have seen the email templates, right? So what email templates helps us, that it gives us a basic structure, a basic layout, in which we don't need to create the email from the scratch. but we have something in place and we can make some modifications on top of it, and then we have our email message ready. Similarly, in Journey Builder also, we have two kind of templates that we'll talk about. We have Salesforce templates, and we can also create our own templates. So Salesforce templates, based on some popular use cases, they have given us some kind of, structure that we can use, and we can make some modifications on top of it to get our requirements. Whereas in my templates, we can create our own templates as well. So we'll discuss these as well. So now let's move on and create a journey so that we understand all the things in detail. Okay, so whenever we want to create a journey, we have three options. One is the multi-step, single step, and transactional. Now, multi-step, as the name says, that it is going to contain multiple steps. And so here we have multiple entry sources. Okay, so before understanding this, let's understand the journey in a nutshell. So any journey, has three different steps. One is the entry, and then the basically the journey, or basically the process, or we can say uh, the middle path, and then we have the exit, right? So first of all, the content is going to enter, and then the content has to go through some of the events, some of the activities, and then the content will exit. So in multi-step journey, we have the multiple entry sources, and then we have multiple activities that customer can go through, and then the customer will exit. So this is a multi-step journey where we can have the multiple steps for the customer to go through. Next, we have a single send journey. The single send journey was created keeping in mind that many a times we just need to send a single email. So we have only one entry source over here, that is a data extension. We do not have multiple entry sources. And here only we have one activity, that is email. So if you want to send an email quickly, what we can do, we can come to journey, we can select the data source, that is a data extension, we can select the email, and then we can send the email. So in a single send journey, it is just a fire and forget thing. So you just save and send the email, and that's it, right? It cannot be reused. If you want to send another email, then you will have to get another single send journey. So it is generally used, or it is only used for making a single send. It could be an email, or it could be an SMS. And then we have a transactional send journey. So transactional journey is used whenever we want to send an email based on any transaction. So transaction, events, action, all these things are the same only, right? It is just the same thing but a different name. So transaction, event, action. So what is the event or action or transaction? Let's say if I withdraw some money from my bank account, if I make the payment, if I click on any of the button, right? So these are the different actions and the event happening. If I, request for the password reset, or if I request for the OTP. So whatever it is, these are the different actions or the transactions made by the user. Now, whenever this occurs, we want to send a notification. So let's say what happens is that let's say you have ordered something on Amazon.com, right? And the delivery guy comes to your door, and then he says that, okay, give me the confirmation code or something like that, delivery code. So what might have happened that this guy must have clicked on any of the button that, okay, I have reached, so that we can get this delivery code, and then the delivery code we have to share with the delivery guy. So any event that is happening, or maybe we want to reset a password. So what we want to do, we want to send an email to the customer saying that this is the link that you can use to reset your password. So we'll understand that how the events happen, and based on that event, how we can trigger this journey, right? So for this, we would need API. So in coming sessions, you will understand the API, and then we'll understand that how we can send the email based on any of the transaction.
here the transaction won't work for e-commerce and all, right?
E-commerce, you mean like whenever somebody places an order, something like that,
Yeah,
is it?
yeah, something like that. Like for a payment thing, can we? It is
Yeah,
used.
yeah, 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 you can do that.
Okay, okay.
So basically API, like we'll understand more about the API, but the API was, developed keeping in mind that so that two different systems can communicate to each other. So we have this marketing cloud as a system, as a application, and then your e-commerce website, your web application is another application. So API always makes two different systems communicate to each other. So otherwise, there is no point of API, right? So we'll understand more about the API, why API was created, why do we use API, and okay. So let's move forward. Now let's understand about the multi-step journey in detail, and with the help of that, you will understand more things, single step journey and other journeys as well. So first of all, the data has to enter into the journey, right? The content has to enter into the journey. So it says that we have six entry sources from where the data can enter into the journey. So we have data extension, API, event, cloud pages, and these kind of things. So let's say let's go ahead one by one and understand each and every entry source. So first one, the data extension. So what does it mean? So let's say if we have the data is stored in a data extension, so we can use that to feed the data into the journey or to make the content enter into the journey. So we'll pick the data extension and we click on the select data extension, and then we are going to select a data extension. And then next we have a filter contact. So let's say if you want to apply a criteria, and based on that only the eligible contact should enter into the journey. So let's say we want to say that wherever, so it says the contact data, right? So we'll understand more about the contact data and journey data in a while. Then I'll explain you what is a filter context. So basically it is used to filter the contacts. Let's say we have 100 records over here, and we want only those contacts enter into the journey where email address is equal to not null. Right. So there are 90 records where the email address is not null. So only those 90 records will enter into the journey. And let's click on the summary. So we'll understand about the contact data and journey data in a while. So what is this data extension and resource? So we can select the data extension where we have stored the records and they will enter into the journey. So we click on the done button now. Okay, next thing that we need to configure is the schedule, that how frequent you want this journey to run. Okay, so in automation, we also saw that we have to schedule the automation, that how frequent we want this automation should run, hourly, weekly, daily, or maybe run once or something like that. So we have three options. First one is the run once. So in run once, this journey will only run one time, and then it will stop, and then we cannot run the journey twice, so we cannot run the journey again. Now, recurring mode, we can set the frequency and it will run at a schedule. The schedule that we are going to configure. So let's say we want this automation, sorry, we want this journey to start at this date, this time, this is the time zone, or maybe on a daily basis, right? So what will happen that it will run. So it will run daily, and it will start at this time. It will run daily, and when we want this to end, so let's say it never. Okay, so every one day it will run, and it will start at this day and it will never end.